It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It might even be 2 o'clock in the morning. In any rate, whatever time it is, you're not asleep and you want to be asleep. So what do you do? Do you stay in bed? Do you stew over why you're awake? What do you do? Well, we're going to answer those questions in just one moment. Hi there. Welcome to Stress Talk Live. This is the place where we help women over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm Marcyline Bailey. I'm your host today. And we're going to be talking about what to do when you wake up in the middle of the night. You can't go back to sleep. Not only am I going to give you strategies to help you, I'm going to have a toolkit, an emergency toolkit for you. I'm also going to give you the science behind it. Why are you awake at 3? Why is your mind going on and on and on and on thinking? And I'm going to tell you what to do about it. First of all, please like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, where some of you are watching. Also, when you go to YouTube, hit the like button if you like what you see. Also, subscribe, please, because the more subscribers I have, the more I can reach people who need this information. Not only that, download your free 7-day stress reset guide. Okay. All right. Let's talk about our topic today. We're talking about how anxiousness hijacks your brain and leads to sleepless nights. Now, if you're a woman over 40 or a woman who is dealing with menopause, premenopause, you know that it's not very hard to wake up in the middle of the night, right? We tend to wake up and then it's like, what do you do once you're awake? How do you go back to sleep? But we also, even if you're not in that stage of life, if you have things that are on your mind and you find that although you fall asleep pretty quickly, you may wake up and all of these thoughts are going through your head. You're thinking about how you're going to pay that bill, or you're thinking about conversations that you had, or you're thinking about what you're going to do, what you need to do when you get to work the next day. There's always something. And even if you're not thinking about things of that nature, you may be thinking about things like, why did your neighbor do that to their yard? Why did they put that tree in that spot? Why do you do that? Why do we have ruminating thoughts at night? Well, I'm going to go over some of the science behind it, and I'm also going to share with you strategies that you can use when you are wide awake like that, when you feel like you can't go to sleep. So, now the strategies that I'm going to share with you today are strategies that I'm calling an emergency toolkit. Okay. Next time, I'm going to share with you strategies that you'll build over time. These are more longer term strategies and strategies that will help you over time. So I know you're seeing me like go from one thing to the other. I'm shifting. I'm actually putting in my here we go. Okay, I'm actually putting in the, I wanted to put banners in so that I can let you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. Okay. All right. Now I've talked to you about the brain and how it works. And I've talked to you about different parts of the brain. So today I'm going to share an additional way the brain works for us. Okay, especially when we're sleeping. All right. Um, okay. So let's get started. All right. We're talking about how anxiousness hijacks your brain and leads to sleepless nights. So, one of the things that I shared with you before is that we have a part of our brain that's called the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is right here. It's like right behind your forehead. It's right in there. Well, the prefrontal cortex is an important part of the brain because it's like it's kind of like a command center, right? And it is one could consider it to be a voice of reason. It's where we reason. And what happens at night is that the prefrontal cortex starts to wind down. Remember, I've told you that before we actually fall asleep, like 2 hours before our usual bedtime, our body starts to get us ready for sleep. And it starts sending signals to us that we're getting sleepy. And sometimes we pay attention to those signals and sometimes we don't. But the prefrontal cortex, which is the place where we reason and we think, it starts to wind down. Well, some at some point in the middle of the night, um, it gets hijacked. So generally it winds down and we go to sleep and everything is fine. But when we are worried, when we are anxious, when we have a lot of things on our mind, it gets hijacked and it completely loses its authority, so to speak. And what happens is that it becomes impaired when we have a lot on us, when we're very anxious. It becomes impaired and it can't really think ahead and it can't manage emotional responses. And so, because of that, the amygdala takes over. And remember, the amygdala is that part of the brain that's our security alarm. And it's hyper vigilant. The amygdala is using all of our senses to scan for danger. It scans for danger. It surveys the territory using our senses. What we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we taste, what everything. It scans for danger and or threats. Danger or threats, right? And because our prefrontal cortex has is kind of, I won't say it's shut down, but it's impaired because of our worries and our concerns, the amygdala has taken over. Remember, the prefrontal cortex is what keeps the amygdala in check. Because let's say the amygdala says, "Oh my gosh, there's a threat." The prefrontal cortex is looking and it says, "Oh, yeah, yeah, it looks like a threat, but it's not really. It's okay. It's not really danger. We can go back to doing what we're doing." So they talk to each other. Well, when you're having a lot of thoughts, when you're feeling anxious, the amygdala is going and it's going in overdrive, right? It's going in overdrive. It's hyper vigilant. And because it's hyper vigilant, it triggers another part of the brain, actually, a number of different parts of the brain. And this is called the default mode network. And it includes several different parts of the brain. And the default mode network enables us to daydream. We think about ourselves, it recalls memory, and it's our imagination center. So we have the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that reasons, that thinks, that helps us to know. It controls the amygdala, right? It works with the amygdala, but it keeps the amygdala from being unnecessarily overactive. Then we have the amygdala, which helps us to scan for danger, and it keeps us safe. That's its job, to keep us safe. When it's not working, when it's in overdrive, we have the default mode network. And that's the part of our brain that when we are not actively engaged in the here and now, and you've heard me talk about the here and now, being present, when we're not actively engaged in the here and now, the default mode network is active. Excuse me. Now, let me share a little bit about the default mode network. So, when we're not doing things, when we're not actively involved with something, paying attention, being present, the default mode network starts to rev up. I've given you an example of this previously, but I'll give you another example. The default mode network is, let's say you're driving to work, and I've used this before, but you're driving to work and there's construction. They're building a new building on your route. You don't pay attention to it because you're in default mode. You're just driving. You're not paying attention. Let's say several weeks later, all of a sudden there's a structure, a building where there wasn't. And you say, oh my